The March of Time.
Master of the sky above and the earth beneath, modern man applies his utmost ingenuity and inventiveness to the pursuit of speed and comfort in search for his most deeply desired objective, happiness. He has surrounded himself with ever more complicated mechanisms to reduce mental and physical effort to a minimum. Man is ever employing his vast scientific resourcefulness for the creation of entertainment devices to provide him with constant distraction. Year by year, the number of appliances and gadgets contributing to man's convenience multiply around him. But despite all the mechanisms he has invented in his pursuit of personal happiness, man is finding existence in the modern world full of frustrations and vexations. Today, the machines man has invented to conquer his environment seem themselves to be conquering man.
Driver! Driver! I have to be at Penn Station at 3:30, and it's 20 after now.
Listen, lady, I can't pick up this cab and carry it, can I?
How dare you speak to me that way? You're the most...
In the calm of America's universities are many thinkers who, pondering the pressure of today's mechanized world, are seriously concerned with the effect of modern living upon mankind. Among them is Professor Ernest Albert Hooton of Harvard, eminent anthropologist, whose studies of the human race from the Stone Age to the present have left him totally unimpressed by recent technological advances, and none too hopeful of the prospects for happiness of the tottering biped known as man.
It took millions of years for man to evolve from a super ape into a thinking animal. But during the past 30,000 years of increasing gadgetry, man has backslid, mentally and physically. Technology perfects machines that even feeble minds can operate. The unintelligent user of gadgets still retains the mentality of primitive man. He resorts for moral support to mumbo-jumbo, just as did his savage ancestors. Machines get better and better, illogical beliefs persist. Mechanized and moronic man moves toward extinction. Any questions?
Corroborating Dr. Hooton is the American press, where reports of the current trend toward mental disorders and crimes of violence testify that man is far from happy. 1 out of every 10 Americans is due for a nervous breakdown. 1 American in every 200 is now a patient in a mental hospital. Look at the everyday American's troubled state of mind. Among the commonest worries of most people is the problem of how to succeed in one's job. No less urgent to the average man or woman is the problem of how to attract the opposite sex. Faced by these and other problems, troubled people have always turned to the traditional counselors, the family doctor, experienced and reliable. the school teacher, instructor of the young, the man of God who ministers to the spirit, and the elders of the family group. But that traditional counseling is not always adequate is shown by the success of syndicated newspaper columns of personal advice. Read by over 15 million Americans every day, is the most popular of these columns, written by the venerable Dorothy Dix.
I am desperately in love with my boss, a married man with whom I am having an affair. Shall I ask his wife to give him up so that he can marry me?
No sensible man is likely to give up home and career for a light of love. You're wasting your time on your married sweetheart. Turn your guns on lawful game.
Airwave equivalent to the lovelorn columns are the personal counseling programs on the radio, which broadcast the troubles of unhappy people to millions of listeners every week.
You have just been listening to Experience Teaches, Elmer P. Lightwood's personal counseling program. Are you unhappy, depressed, in trouble? Write a frank statement of your problem to Elmer P. Lightwood, care of the station to which you are listening. He can help you, as he has helped thousands.
Troubled people by the thousands send in requests for advice every week. And from among them, the radio counselor picks the most theatrically effective for discussion on his program. Carefully withholding the names of the participants, the counselor probes their dilemmas before a nationwide audience.
And what's your problem, Miss Y?
Oh, I don't know. It's just that my fiancé was killed in the war. Life doesn't seem to mean much to me anymore. It's as though I couldn't bear to live sometimes.
Oh, come now, Miss Y. Many of us have lost persons dear to us in the war, but we've learned not to take it so hard. Think of the sunshine, Miss Y, and all the beauties of nature. Can you think of all those glorious, everlasting things and still say that you don't want to live?
I don't care about anything. That's how I feel.
Oh, so you're going to turn your back on things, eh? You're going to say no to life, is that it? Well, now let me tell you, young woman.
Seriously concerned about the morbid interest these programs arouse and the quality of the advice given is Dr. George Stevenson, Medical Director of the National Committee for Mental Hygiene.
Listen to Experience Teaches next week. Another gripping human half hour.
You know, these radio programs that exploit people in distress on the pretext of helping them should not be allowed. Advice given by self-styled counselors who aren't prepared scientifically to deal with human problems is apt to be both misleading and dangerous.
Of equal concern to doctors is the blind faith of many people that diet alone will solve all their problems. The addiction of Americans to food fads as a means of bolstering themselves up has enabled many a diet theorist to build his private formula into a flourishing business.
I use liver, brain, spinal cord, heart, kidney, mixed the juices of raw vegetable that fixed up gray hair, wrinkles, bad teeth, sagging chin, brittle nails. If somebody has sex problem, your worries are over.
But the currently popular health theorist has by no means crowded out the colorful medicine man, with his nostrums guaranteed to cure every ill and solve every problem.
Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, and see how Dr. Mayfield's famous Vitazone remedy works. Carrying his germ-destroying properties to every corner of the human system, ridding it of impurities, Dr. Mayfield's wonderful Vitazone remedy brings a new spring to your walk, new life to your weary-jaded eyes, and a ruddy glow of health to your pale cheeks. Only $1 a bottle, my friends, for Dr. Mayfield's Vitazone, surpassing all the medical specialists in all the hospitals of the globe. Who's going to be the first to buy a wonderful bottle of Vitazone? Oh, I see a fine, intelligent young gentleman there. Oh, thank you, $1. Who's going to be the second?
With unflagging optimism, man has been buying potions and pills for centuries, forever sure that a miraculous solution of all his problems is just around the corner. Another means of self-improvement, mail-order courses in muscle building have for years enjoyed a phenomenal success. From offices which cover a whole floor in a New York skyscraper, strongman Charles Atlas operates a $1 million business. From all over the world pour in the inquiries of clients young and old, all of whom are ambitious to achieve a torso like Atlas's.
Why, only the other day, a very rich man called me up and said, "Charlie, I have just lost $500,000. I'm going to blow my brains out." So I told him to forget it and get to exercising. Let me teach you how to become strong, like this.
Today, some doctors have grave reservations as to the value of exercise for everybody. Prominent among them is Dr. William H. Sheldon, noted authority on the human constitution.
For some people, physical culture is a good thing. For some others, it may be disastrous.
But despite wise counsel, millions of men and women continue to search for happiness, each in his own strange way. Ever seeking to win the admiration of others, never daunted by his previous failures, man is forever sure that next time he'll hit the jackpot. Part and parcel of every man's spirit of hope is his immemorial desire to know what the future holds in store. Upon fortune tellers and fortune-telling devices, the American public spends some $150 million a year. The fact that the same person may hear 3 or 4 contradictory versions of the future from as many practitioners seldom does anything to shake her faith in the ancient arts of soothsaying.
Now, here's your hotline. Well, you certainly get plenty of attention from the wolves, don't you?
Bad confluence is looming up next year. Do not swim in the ocean. That would be fatal. Moon and Pluto in the air sign Gemini. Your love life's not very satisfactory, is it?
Naturally, you've had bad luck with a name like Ruth Farrell. Now, if you'll change your name to this one I've worked out for you, you'll be in tune with the infinite, and all your problems will vanish.
What's my new name?
Your new name is Quackery Roval.
For the pretensions of numerologists and astrologists who base their predictions on the stars, there is no respect whatever among astronomers whose job is to study the stars scientifically. Men like the Hayden Planetarium's chairman, Gordon Atwater.
Astronomy is the science of the stars. Astrology is a cult which claims that the stars have a direct influence upon people's lives and that they may be used to foretell the future. Astrology has no scientific basis whatsoever. If any of you have come to the planetarium expecting us to cast your horoscope, you have come to the wrong place.
But watching man's fumbling pursuit of happiness from among primitive evidences of human irrationality, even the sardonic Professor Houghton is not completely pessimistic.
People who consult mystics, diviners, and prophets of the occult employ the same sort of subhuman reasoning as produce these masks and magical paraphernalia.
You seem to take a very dim view of humanity, Professor Hooton. Haven't you any hope for the future of man?
Certainly. But we must realize that we need not merely better machines and sounder beliefs, but wiser and healthier men. When we have learned what qualities of mind and body combine in heredity to make superior individuals, we may then produce intelligent human beings who will ultimately salvage civilization.
Bolstering up the scientists' hope, a national committee of 13, with a campaign of good-humored burlesque to expose the baselessness of humanity's fears and phobias, is trying to prove on a popular level that superstition can be eradicated. Backed by people as well known as illustrator John Vassos, the committee feels it may, in time, get mankind to substitute logic and common sense for its eternal wishful flight from reality. To educate by example, these iconoclasts publicly violate all the time-honored taboos. For with the scientists, they believe that until men learn that their future lies in themselves, not in cults or charms or mumbo-jumbo, the security and happiness men have sought down the ages will still elude them. Time marches on.